Hi, huge movie fanatic Nate, continuing my lovely solo winter-related movie reviews here with a movie that I think I mentioned in the last review, Vertical Limit. Check it out. Cliffhanger. Now this movie came out I think in 1993, and I don't know why. For some reason I don't think I was interested. I just we didn't see it in the theater, I don't think, and I ended up blind buying the VHS tape. I don't know if it came out. This is back in the days when VHS, the majority of movies that came out on VHS were like, to the video stores when they came out, they were like $90 or whatever, $80. And I can't remember if this came out like what they called sell-through, which was on occasion like Total Recall or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. On occasion a movie would come out what they called sell-through, where it was actually something you could pay for yourself, which was like $15 or whatever. Things like Home Alone or Hook or Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, this kind of stuff would come out sell-through, like some of the summer stuff. But the majority of it would all be like $80 or $90 per VHS tape, which is just, in retrospect now, I mean, whoa. But then later on, over a period of time, the prices would be reduced. So I can't remember if this movie came out sell-through or not. It seems like I got it on tape, fairly recently after it came out, but whatever. I never saw this in the theater, I only saw it on video. And this is a movie where it's kind of like when you get towards this time, which is like the early 90s, it's when Stallone is kind of peaked somewhere around the mid to late 80s, and now he's kind of on his, when this movie came out, he's kind of, in my estimation, on his downward, slow, gradual downward, where he's heading towards shit that I think is stupid, like mid-90s, where you got The Specialist and stuff like that, and he's, Demolition Man's great, but, this is some of his last good 90s stuff, we'll just say it that way, before his resurgence again in like the 21st century. But I like Cliffhanger more or less. I like Stallone in it. I like his girlfriend. She's kind of cute in it, and the guy and the Michael Rooker and just the location. Obviously, if you've seen some of my reviews before, you know that I'm a nature person and a mountain. Well, I don't live around mountains, but if I did, I'd be a mountain person. Not necessarily a mountain climber, but I just liked how it looks, like the mountains, the vistas, and the pine trees and all this stuff. So I'm a outdoor nature kind of a enthusiast person. So this movie was shot, I think, in Italy. I think it's supposed to take place in Colorado or something, but I think the mountain vistas or whatever were shot in Italy and stuff like that. So this movie, one of the biggest pluses, obviously, is just the visuals of this movie, the imagery of the locations. And back in the early 90s when John Lithgow was doing these bad guy roles, with Ricochet and Raising Cain and all this kind of stuff. I don't know if he just did these three or if he did more bad guy stuff. But John Lithgow, you wouldn't ever think, having seen him in Harry and the Hendersons, that he'd ever be any kind of good bad guy, but he's a pretty good bad guy. I'm going to go 3 stars with Cliffhanger. For the most part, I like it. I grew up with it. It's really got this epic feel to it, like the beginning. The beginning is great, by the way, which I mentioned in the Vertical Limit review, which is pretty much a rip-off of the beginning of this. And the beginning is great, and it makes you just go, oh my gosh. And it's a really powerful way to begin the movie, and I think it was shot and was executed really well in a competent way at the beginning, where the woman says, I can't hold you, please. Please, just give me a hand. Give me a hand. I can't hold anymore. So that was like really a shocking, amazing kind of way to start a movie, and was phenomenal. Michael Rooker's like, you shouldn't have went out on that line, man. There was nothing else to do. You did it your way, and she's dead. So there's a lot of great performers in this movie. You got John Lithgow, you got that British woman, you got, is it Leon, the black guy? What amazes me in this day and age is whatever, I don't know, I haven't watched it this winter. Probably should. What amazes me in this day and age, what a man will do for his bitch, or something like that. I'm gonna kill me a mountain man. And it's just like, funny. So there's a lot of great character actors in this, like the bad guys and stuff, and the whole notion of taking the money by air. And that little set piece was really cool, where they like send the people over on these zip lines or whatever you want to call it, midair, and it's like a heist midair and all this kind of stuff. And excuse me, that's really kind of cool. The idea. And then it's one of these movies like Waterworld that kind of starts really strong and devolves a little bit, like when it should be getting strong. Like the end of this movie is a little too grand and not, I don't know, almost too grand for its own good, and kind of where the helicopter goes over the cliff and is suspended against and they're fighting, on the helicopter and all this kind of stuff. It's a little one of those situations where it's a little too much kind of a thing. And the scene, one of the weaker scenes for me, is that it's just so obviously done in a soundstage with him getting underwater and getting pulled underwater and having the fight underwater thing, and just how he survived so much of this movie in a t-shirt in these temperatures, without just completely frostbiting his whole body. But it's a movie, So I think, to make a long story short, we'll go 3 stars on Cliffhanger. It's one of these movies, again, like if I feel like it, that if I am so inclined, one that I will on occasion watch in the winter. I got the Blu-ray for like $7.99 years ago, so maybe I'll rewatch it before spring this year. So thank you very much for watching. Michael Rook. Oh, there's that asshole. Like pretty much every bad guy is funny and is interesting in this movie. There's that like British asshole guy in the fight with Michael Rooker. He's like, striker lines up for the penalty penalty kick, and it's like every time he says striker lines it up, he cut, and he's like, but soon I'll be dead, but you'll always be an asshole. So yeah, that's Michael Rooker's always great. So it's got a pretty good cast in this movie. And like I say, his short-haired girlfriend's pretty cute in this movie. She's got like these tight pants on. And then the foot cost a fortune to heat this place. He's throwing the money, like the packed $100 bills onto the fire. A fortune to heat this place. But I love it when you do a bad joke and the line follows with bad humor. I know. I mean, they actually say it. Then you get a pass for a bad joke. So some pretty cool set pieces in Cliffhanger. So yeah, 3 stars. Thanks a lot for watching.